Thank you very much. And what a great speech by Angelos, giving us some foresight into the gold price. Good morning, London. How are you all? I'm very glad to be here at around $1,400 gold, providing an update to the audience. Just to remind you all, we're sitting with over 5 million ounces in a single pit in Ghana, West Africa, brand new discovery. Our capital structure, over on the left-hand side there, the coverage that we get globally at the moment, a list of players there, and our shareholders are there as well. As you can see, we've got people from goldfields all the way through to Swiss institutions invested in our company and everyone in between. Our shareholders by geographic location has been growing over the last 6 to 9 months in North America. They've surpassed Australia. Part of the reason is being told from the North Americans is they've been trickling out of, let's say, momentum plays that have been going on over there and taking some money off the table and coming back to some real investments. The board of management, myself and Malik, founders, a little bit about us there. Our previous project is pouring gold in Ghana under the brand of Asenco. We sold that on in 2010 and kicked off the Cardinal project. I might add, we've been at this for over 20 years in this part of Ghana. Close to 25 years we made the initial discovery. We've brought on a COO by the name of Dave Anthony, who's in the audience today with us, and more than welcome to come and introduce yourselves at our booth. Dave's history is basically ex-Barrick guy. He's built half a dozen mines and been associated with them for Barrick, and all in all 10 plants in his lifetime he's taken from zero to production and been involved with them. Kevin Tomlinson, who's also in the audience with us, London-based, our non-exec chairman, banker, he's also here with us, so you're more than welcome to come and have a chat with Kevin as well. We've got Ken Thomas, who's on our board. Ken was number 3 employee for Barrick. He, Peter Monk and a few other technical guys kicked Barrick off, and he was a valuable contributor into some of the technical aspects of the company, which brought them up to where they are, or where they were recently. Michele Maskillo, he's our corporate lawyer out of Australia. He's been in this space, this is what he does. And Trevor Schultz, who's also a non-exec director, he's the former Anglo Gold COO. He built 4 mines for Anglo Gold back in the day through West Africa. And his latest gig was building the Sentiment plant out at Egypt. He took that from 0 to 12 million tonne per annum. And he's had roles with BHP and Rio in the past. So as you can see there, we've got a couple of guys on the board who had history in building plants, successful history I might add, and the new addition, Dave Anthony, who could do this, as to quote Dave, with one arm tied behind his back. Ghana. We're in the northern part of Ghana. As you can see, Ghana has quite a few mines in the southern part of Ghana. Over 100 years of history of mining in Ghana. And we're the first commercial mine to come online in the northern part of Ghana. Hence, we enjoy quite a bit of support from the locals all the way through to the president, because there is a big interest in getting into production and becoming a large economic driver for the region. More importantly, I'd like to let you know that the infrastructure, it's all close by. We've got hydropower close by, continuous water supply all year round, and a sealed national highway that runs through into West Africa. That's the main haul road which feeds all the mines in West Africa. And we've got a mining lease which has been granted for 15 years. Off the back of our PFS, which was published in September of last year, at the time we had 4.76 million ounce reserve. We've since upgraded that, as I mentioned earlier, to 5.1 million ounces. The study consultants are on the left-hand side there. The usual suspects, tier 1 groups, Golder, Lycopodium, Knight, Peasold, ALS and the like. The numbers, basically at the time, we designed the pit around $1,100 gold price, and our financial model was $1,250, and the development cost was slightly over $400 million US. Our all-in sustaining costs have been broken up into two components because we've got a shallow million ounces from the surface that we consider to be the payback or the starter pit. That'll operate, it'll cost around $600, but for the life of mine we anticipate around $750 to $800 is where we'll land for the life of mine. And the project payback period is less than 2 years if it was 100% debt. And post-tax MPV is there and IRR is there. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder. You make of it what you will with those numbers there. A little bit more detail on this page. Basically, the starter pit numbers, we should produce around 360,000 ounces according to this study. Also, the total amount of gold we'll produce in a 2.5 year period is around 900,000 ounces. There's your head grade, the recoveries, and the strip ratio of 0.5 to 1 for the starter pit. And for the life of mine scenario, we should be around 300,000 ounces per annum, and with a strip ratio on this study of about 1.4 to 1 for 14 years. Sensitivities. I've said this before, so it's not anything new. We always plan for the downside for about $1,000 gold price, and the sensitivities, the IRR still hangs in over 20% at around $1,000 gold. And we'd always prayed for the $1,350 to come along. Well, here we are today at $1,400. So bright future for everybody in this space, not just the Cardinal. And let's just hope it hangs on. A little bit about the project. They're the broad dimensions of the pit as it stands. It's approximately 1 kilometre long by 400 metres deep. What's interesting is the next slide. It shows the width of the deposit of the ore. It's about 350 metres wide. Now, why that's important is the strip ratio. As you can see there, over to the west, where there's a bit of waste there, most of it is free dig. We're in the ore, we're digging, that's why our strip ratio is so low, and it helps our project economics. 350 metres wide. What we've also been able to establish is the geology doesn't break beneath the pit. That hole there to the west gives us data down to about 650 metres. So with these kind of prices of gold, it may be worth looking beneath the pit for any underground potential. But it looks like it doesn't break. So we're going to sink a few more holes in there by the end of this year and have a look at what's going on beneath the pit. Our flow sheet, standard conventional equipment, off the shelf. There's nothing special in this other than the blue circle there. A few weeks ago we published a press release stating that we were going to investigate that Archie technology. And for those of you who haven't read the press release, I'll just give you a minute on it. This technology is very simple. It's been in mines for the last 10 years. 6 investors in the mining industry got together and kicked this thing along, funded it in the early days, and it's public knowledge. We published it as well. Randgold was one of the largest supporters. Mark Bristow and co were one of the largest supporters of this technology, and he runs it in all of the Randgold mines, and he's planning to roll it out into the Barrick mines, and the list goes on and on. But basically it's just a pre-scrubber, scourer, pre-ox oxidisation of the pyrite before it drops into the leach tanks. It basically cleans and prepares and oxidises the pyrite before it goes into the leach circuit, and the benefit of that is twofold. Greater recoveries is one component of it, but more importantly, we can coarsen up the grind size because it doesn't discriminate between ultra-fine and fine. It just does its job. And in doing so, we save a lot of power, chemicals, reagents, residence time, and it's the OPEX savings that we're looking for to further enhance the project. Sure, getting a few extra ounces of gold at the end of the year isn't a bad thing either, but the savings on OPEX across the entire production profile is what we're chasing, and we feel that it's material enough to factor into our feasibility study, which is due in Q3. A little bit more about our district play, our land package. Namdini's there in the bottom right-hand corner. We've got another 900 square kilometres of prospective ground. We know that not all of it's going to be prospective. We've identified some areas that aren't mineralised, but by far and large, most of it are, and we're going to ramp up our exploration for the second half of this year a little bit more, because we've been able to identify a few areas, and it's been in the public domain. We've got a particular area there called Ndongo East that has very shallow, high grade, down to 50 metres, high grade satellite type pit that can be developed there, and a few other locations, because what we want to do is haul this ore into the production facility and grow from 14, 15 years of production to possibly 20 or 30 years as time goes by. So we can keep the mill busy for quite a long time beyond Namdini. Here are our timelines. As I mentioned earlier, Q3, our feasibility study. Hopefully our decision to mine later this year, and all in all, pouring gold in the second half of 2022. All things being equal, money matters. So it's about getting the financing sorted out this year. District exploration will be running in the background, as I said earlier, trying to identify higher grade, longer life feed to complement the already great Namdini that we have on our hands. Short and sweet, I'd like to thank everybody, and I wish everybody happy investigating in this conference. You'll enjoy it, and all the best. Thank you, London.